very much.
You're not friends with this guy, right? Okay.
Okay.
You guys know friends.
All right, so it's very, very simple. When the judge says go, do you have a stopwatch? Can we use your phone, please, ma'am? Yeah, thank you.
Worst reindeer judge ever. Doesn't even have the reindeer stopwatch.
So we're going to have a stopwatch and a timer. And then what you do is you have to unpack a pack and you have to stuff a snowball in your face. And then when you've swallowed it, you put your hand up and you yell, ho, ho, ho. He will then mark one, okay? When you've eaten all of the snowballs, we then move forward to zingers. When you're done with the zingers, just to wash it down, we have some, what are these? Pretzel bites. But just do as much as you can in, I think it should be 60 seconds.
I think it's going to be 90 seconds. I think it's 90 seconds. Hey guys, I just want you guys to know, if they do not finish eating all of these, there's no film. We're just not going to show it. So no pressure, but you do have to eat every single one, or there's no film. It's just, it's going to be a little upset with you.
So you rip it open, you stuff one in your mouth, put your hand up when it's ho, 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 and he will get you. And then we'll need some audience participation. We need you to cheer these fantastic people. And let's get some, what is your name, sir?
My name is JP.
JP, ladies and gentlemen. Where are you from?
I'm from LA, Van Nuys specifically.
That's right, Van Nuys represent the Valley. Madame?
Katie Tunbridge from Australia.
Katie, all the way from Australia? Give her extra points right now. And then festive lady on here? Listen to Burbank represent! Okay, so we've got Van Nuys, we've got Australia and Burbank.
Our nation's capital, Burbank, California!
There's nobody from Santa Monica in this theater right now.
All right.
Water! We're not giving them water, that would be too kind. Okay. So, are we ready with our stopwatch? Okay, Ivan, are we ready with music?
Can you wake up, Bing?
Okay, Ivan, give us some music, and then we'll count down, and we need you all to cheer. Yes! Okay, all right, here we go. 3, 2, 1!
One's open, one is open, two is open. It's neck and neck.
Oh my god, he's smaller.
How is that? That's really good. It's really good. Snowballs are really good, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
We should say let's only have 3 because they're going to eat all of them. They're on one snowball.
Too many snowballs, ladies and gentlemen. So far, you've done 1. Yeah, okay. Who wants a zinger? Yeah, here you go. 1! Okay.
How's it going in the middle? You going good? This is the slowest race of all time. We're just letting 3 people enjoy snowballs.
Can we cheer JP, ladies and gentlemen? And can we cheer Katie, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, big moment. We have a big moment at the end. We have a very big moment. What? Is it what? Wait, we have a ho there. All right, he was last. What do we have? 2, 1, 2. But you were 2 first, right? You were 2 second, and then you were 1 and a bit. This is the worst eating contest we've ever done.
I wanted fun. He said there's no way this will be enough. Oh, I'm saying snowballs! 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 We got prizes? Have you ever seen such a contest in your life? And on Christmas Day?
Universal is so generous and we're so stupid, you're all actually winners. We got 3 of these. Who wants pretzels? You got pretzels, man. All right, pretzels. Yes, you got pretzels, sir. Singers. All right. Can we have a round of applause for JP King and Lexi, please?
They will be talking about that contest for 10 minutes.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, but it can't just be 3 winners.
We're all winners today, Grants. We got to sit through that.
Oh, yeah, okay. You want it, though? Yeah, Merry Christmas.
This is... Oh, this... Universal are never doing another movie with us. You know that, right? Oh, but we do have more... We do have more gifts, ladies and gentlemen. Does anyone know the film Almost Christmas? Who starred in Almost Christmas? Who said Danny Glover? Wow, yes, back there, please. Okay, what else do we have here again? Courtesy reference to Universal. Oh, yeah, Don't Be a Grinch. Yes, there you go, And then we also have... There you go. Sing 2, ladies and gentlemen. Who loves Sing 2? You can get this in a Hallmark store near you. This retails at the glorious price of $29.99. Sing 2. Do you have a small child that will like this? It's the festive season. There you go, my dear. We have so much more. Dumb and Dumber 2. Yes, very good. Grant's good. Dumb and Dumber 2 sweater. Yes, you over there. All right, we have more. We have talking, texting during the movie. But what you can do is you can laugh, you can cheer, you can clap, you can hug the person next to you. You can go absolutely crazy because this, ladies and gentlemen, is the first time that anyone has seen Violent Night in a movie theater, and we are so excited to have you here. Like Grant said, it's Christmas, so let's enjoy it. Thanks everybody for coming out. Grant, the outset, Grant, the index. Back to the very beginning, Josh, Pat, how did this film start? Where did this whole journey begin?
Without getting too rambling, we were friends in Bloomington, Minnesota, and studied in junior high. Yeah, Minnesota.
Bloomington
here. School Vikings. But we basically made a version of this in high school. Again, I won't go into a long story, but that always kind of stuck with us over the year as we thought it was funny, but we always thought it was too stupid to ever get made into a movie.
As it turns out, it was exactly stupid enough.
Well, I think it was it's one of those things that feels obvious after the fact, but I feel like somewhere around 2000, we really entered this debate of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. It is a Christmas movie.
It's not a Christmas.
See, but the debate. So basically, we were like, what if we just made a version of Die Hard that is undeniably a Christmas movie?
I mean, that was really the goal, to make this fully an action movie, but also fully a Christmas movie. It's not just...
All Christmas movies are about believing in Santa. It's always the danger if he's going to be able to deliver his presents. And I mean, why we were so happy when Tommy got involved is when we sold it, we always assumed it was going to turn into like a PG Paul Blart movie, or maybe just a full John Wick, and they would kind of strip out the sappiness. But we're like, no, it has to be as violent as John Wick, and it's just sappy as hell. It's like a
It's got to be a full Miracle on 34th Street as well. And Tommy really embraced both sides, which was great.
Yes, for sure. I mean, that was the appealing part to me. Yes, the crazy action and the humor and the gore and all that stuff I knew and I loved and I knew we could pull off. But the really interesting appeal was the fact that it really felt like a Christmas movie for the first draft I read. And that's the kind of the I knew that if we could sell that, the heart of the film, especially the relationship between Judy and Santa, we can go as crazy as we wanted with the rest. And yeah, we did. You know, we went for it.
And then, so you talk about like the different drafts of the script. When you first turned this in, so you brought it to Universal, someone somewhere was crazy enough to say, yes, we should do this thing. And then the different drafts, what happened to the violence? Did they say, you know, we got to lean back a little bit, we don't want to offend everybody?
Well, so Matt Riley was the exec at Universal who bought the pitch, and we only, because this was 2020, COVID was still like in it was March, but it was more people still thought there might be a writer's strike, which is crazy that anyone thought that would have happened once COVID really hit. But Riley gave us two things. He's like, you gotta write this really fast. We can't afford the North Pole. And we're like, check. And he's like, and it just go nuts. And we're like, what? Like, again, we assume Paul Blart was
we were scared that phone call was gonna be like, let's make this PG-13, guys. And instead, he was just like, just guts flying everywhere. And we were like, okay, we can do that.
And then Tommy can talk about, because I had to get under a certain budget, so we had to keep cutting out bad guys. And then Tommy was always like, don't worry about it, we'll like sneak them back in. And then at some point, by the time we saw what they were planning for the big barn fight, we're like, there's like 50 guys he's fighting here.
Yeah, I know that, and we can thank our producer who said today, Guy Danella. I was like, we always knew we were going to bring a lot of them back. Let's not argue about it right now. Let's just argue about it later and sneak them in when we can. And yeah, I would say, like, I honestly did feel at certain points when we sent in the script to the studio, when we did some rewrites, that they would push back. Like, for example, when we pull a guy into the snowblower, like moments like that. But no, they never said anything. They said, go for it. Yeah, so that was a very encouraging, and it really helped the film, I think, that we just could go nuts.
I think it helps when your producers made nobody in the John Wick movies.
Yeah. I was going to say, we've come so far since Silent Night. You know, just obliterated parents and studios got terrified. So it's amazing that I feel like we've kind of come full circle, in which this is embraced. But so Tommy, you've got a little bit of a track record of killing people in the snow. So Tommy's
Me personally, but yes.
Yes, Dead Snow and Dead Snow 2, which are absolute classics. How did you become involved? At what point did you come on? Was it, you know, Dead Snow and obviously Hansel Gretel? So you got a chill in your bones, and you're Norwegian, right? So
yeah.
you're basically like, we're amongst the Viking here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Northman.
Yeah. Of all things, I wouldn't describe myself as a Viking, but yeah, no, it's true. Like, and there was a lot of things that I loved about the script, and obviously the fact, you know, when they first sent me the script, I said, yeah, it's like Die Hard with Santa Claus, which is kind of way, in a way. But in the back of my head, I was like, okay, but how can you sell the fact that Santa's going to take all these guys and really, you know, have a chance? But then they brought in the Viking backstory, which I just loved, of course, and thought it was a really smart way of somehow grounding the whole thing. But no, it was one of those things where, from the first moment coming on board, everybody felt like we would want to make the same movie, which is always a big thing. And yeah, crazily enough, I'm from the very north of Norway, as far north as you can get, basically. But we found a place that was colder than that to actually shoot the film, which is Winnipeg, Canada. But it really added to the film as well. Like, those are, in the end fight, that was so cold and miserable to shoot that scene. But it really shows we were out there in real snow in the middle of the night. Those are not CGI breaths, you know, like, it really added to the film as well, being out there for real. And yes, the Dead Snow experience came in handy for sure.
Yeah, and so you said, this is the first film that, I think if I'm right, this is the first film you've made in which you didn't write the script, is that correct?
Second, I also did a film called What Happened to Monday, which I didn't write, but yeah, no, so, again, like, one of the first things I said when they sent me the script was that I felt like I could have written this. No, not like, I felt like I was born to make this film. I think it was and because these guys really just had my sense of humor and sense of fun, like, and the combination of extreme violence and humor, of course. But again, like I said, they really had a heart in the script, which is so appealing to me.
And as you were writing the script, so there's lots of Christmas movie references in there. Did you just like, in that COVID period, it seems that like everyone who didn't have kids, I'm so jealous of you all. But anyone who didn't have kids just spent like months watching movies. Did you just sit in like the summer of 2020 and just watch Christmas?
Well, no,
I would have loved to have done that.
We didn't have time because we offhanded, So we had Sonic, we also wrote Sonic the Hedgehog Part 1.
And part 2,
And 3.
and 3, there we go.
But, so Sonic 1 was about to come out, so this is beginning of January 2020, and it just dawned on us, we're like, oh, this probably is a good time to pitch a movie.
Yeah, we got to get out there and sell something just in case everybody hates Sonic.
Yeah. So we gave our agents like a list of stuff, and they were like, kind of picked ones they liked the best, and then we were like, oh, we also have this other idea. It's basically just Die Hard with Santa, and they're like, that's the one. And we're like, I'm glad we put all this work into these other ideas that we fleshed out.
But yeah, we were out pitching Violent Night the week that Sonic came out. I think maybe we pitched it to Universal maybe the morning after the Sonic premiere, so we were all hungover and looking terrible. But we did it, and then it was like, because the writer's strike was coming up, they were like, you gotta write this as fast as possible, but also Sonic 2 at the same time. So we wrote both movies simultaneously in just an absolute blind panic. Well, everyone else was like watching Netflix all day. We didn't have time to watch
everyone else
any
was
Netflix at
like
all.
two weeks into COVID, and they're like, I'm going insane. Let's have a Zoom party where we wear tuxedos. And we're just like, what? Like, what?
We gotta write 30 pages today, man.
Yeah.
No time for your Zoom party.
So I guess to your question, thankfully we all grow up watching Christmas stuff, so it's just embedded. Mostly we were rewatching Die Hard movies and all the Die Hard knockoffs. So that was kind of what we wanted to bone up on.
Yeah, 'cause we never wrote an outline for this movie, so anytime we got confused, we would just
What
rewatch
did
parts
Die
of
Hard
Die
do?
Hard.
What part of Die Hard 2 is this? Oh, this is where the guys who think are good guys turn out to be in on it too. Gotcha.
So you say you had to plow through this. How long did it take you to write and to?
Like 4 or 5 weeks. And then obviously there's rewrites. You know, Stallone's always like, oh, I wrote Rocky in 3 days. First draft. I mean, you have more drafts after that. They didn't start shooting on
He's
day
at the
4.
back, by the
Oh,
way.
shit.
And then Tommy, how much writing did you have involved? Or?
Well, obviously you come in and you have a lot of ideas and you brainstorm with these guys, and I just threw them tons of ideas and they went off and wrote it. And like I said, it helps when you feel you're used to making the same film and you have the same sensibilities. But no, it really was a film where no idea was too crazy, and somehow these guys made it work. There was no filter, and yeah, it was a fast process. Like, I think I got sent the script, Guy, when was it?
Summer. Six
Summer?
months we were in
Yeah,
the shoot.
summer last year, and then we sent the script to Harbor a few weeks later. He came on board, and then we started rewriting it. You guys were working on that while we were prepping the film, and then we were shooting in January. So really fast production on this one.
And so you referenced Harbor. When you guys were writing, did you have him in mind? Was there anyone that you were kind of?
We did. I mean, it's crazy. I guess it's just he was so undeniably right for it, because we pictured him in our minds. No one asked us who we thought we should cast. Like, they just told us they were sending it to him, and we thought that was...
But yeah, like we always sort of like fantasy cast movies just to get ourselves on the same page with each other of like, what's Santa like? We're like, oh, he's like David Harbour. Yeah. And then, like, we didn't even have that discussion with you guys. And then you were like, oh, we're sending out to David Harbour. We're like, yes, that was exactly right.
Yeah, it was one of those meetings me and the producers and the studio had where the casting process, you go to this list and agencies present you ideas. And it was truly one of those moments where somebody brought up Harbour's name and we all just look at each other as like, oh my God, he's so perfect. So we sent him the script, and 2 days later I was Skyping with him. And he was down in New Orleans shooting a film for Netflix at the time. He was super skinny and shaved his head, so the complete opposite of how Santa was going to look. But he loved the script. He had some great ideas on the character. And yeah, he came on board like that same week we sent it to him. So again, like, I'm pretty sure, I didn't think about it until after, but I think it could be pretty scary for an actor to do the role of Santa Claus. So many actors obviously done it, so many movies, so many genres within the Christmas movie, but he really, I have to say, delivered and beyond, like in a memorable sense, and embraced all of it, of course, but also the physical nature, and loved the training, the working out, which is, of course, 87 North so good at training their actors. So yeah, the ideal Santa in front and behind the camera.
And was there anything that did he push back on anything, or was he just like more like the same as the uni and the
No,
S
I
and
mean,
not?
it's always, I mean, this kind of movie, it's always a balance with tone, right? Like, when do you go too far, and when do you have to push more, and when do you have to pull back? And so there was a lot of talk about that, but we had a lot of fun in coming up with the unraveling of Santa. He was very onto that, like, okay, where do we start him? The image of the Coca-Cola Santa Claus with the purple red suit, the small glasses, he really wanted to start there, and then we slowly reveal the layers beneath the costume and the Viking heritage and all that stuff. So to each fight, we kind of came up, okay, we're going to see that in this fight, and in that fight, we're going to reveal that part. And it was more about, okay, how do we slowly but surely make sure that we don't do too much too fast, basically. So the first two fights, he's barely hanging on, barely scraping along. And David was very conscious about that. He didn't want him to feel like a hero straight off the bat, and just really, like with John McClane, like he's barely clinging on. So in that he was very, a lot of ideas when it comes to that.
And there's so many visual gags that within the violence, the candy cane, all that kind of stuff. But the one moment when he stitches himself up, which is more kind of Rambo, I think, than McClane. But then when the wrapping paper comes on, and then the bow comes on, and you felt it in the room. I mean, you talk about heart, right? Because we all love Christmas, and that just felt like it was so insane, but it was also so right for Christmas. In the script all along.
That was part of the pitch. I mean, that's a classic when Tommy's saying everyone being on the same page, because that was part of the pitch. Always.
That was like the candy cane and stitching himself up with Christmas wrapping stuff.
Yeah.
It was like a key element right from the get-go.
I remember
how do we make this a classic 80s Arnold action movie, but also...
But Tommy, I feel like at some point, because the wrapping paper was always in there, but I feel like at some point you were like, Harper wants even more Christmas things in the wrappings.
Yeah, that was an example of Harper. He loved the idea of using Christmas elements to fix himself up. So in the beginning, I think it was only ending with the wrapping paper.
I think so.
The first draft. So he said, okay, how can we use Christmas gag or Christmas items to the whole thing? So we came up with the decorations and the needle and all that stuff came from Harper, and these guys went home and wrote it. But yeah, he just wanted. Because we all, like you said, we all seen that scene so many times before. He just really wanted to make it special.
I mean, it was like that with all the fight stuff too, because like in the script we had a ton of the different Christmas gags of like how he was going to kill people with this stuff. And a lot of that wound up in the movie, but not always in the exact same spot where it was in the original script. But then like the stunt guys and Tommy, everyone kept just like adding more and more of just like, what's more Christmas stuff you can do?
Well, yeah, it helps when you already know 87 North's making it, so when we didn't have any ideas, we're just like, I don't know, action, you know. They'll figure it out better than we can.
And the shoot itself, so yeah, you were up in
Winnipeg, Canada.
Winnipeg. I did a little bit. So that's where they shot the actual town where you did it. It's where they shot Hallmark's A Kiss Before Christmas. Yeah. So and there's I read like there's some local. What's the local place? It's like Manitoba or something strange like that. I don't know what it is. So that newspaper said, this isn't like any movie that's been shot here before. It's not like Hallmark's A Kiss Before Christmas. What was it like shooting up there? Like what period? Because you've obviously got a ton of interiors, but then it's cold as shit outside, right?
Yeah, it really was. And you know, they have great tax incentives. That's why the big reason why I go there. But obviously a lot of the winter stuff and snow and great crew. But it was funny, like when we showed up, the movie had two very important things. One for the end sequence and one for the main part of the movie. It's like we needed a mansion and we needed a big hill for that stunt at the end where he goes down with the sleigh. And Winnipeg doesn't have any of those things. No reindeer either, that's true. We have to go in to shoot those another place. So we actually, for example, when Santa goes to sleigh and jumps on a snowball, we had to build that with like 50 truckloads of snow, because I'm not joking, there's not a single hill in Winnipeg. Not even like a hump. It's so flat. But it was a great place to shoot, even though in that kind of cold, it is like minus 25 to minus 30 degrees Celsius with a little bit of wind always, which is always kind of like, crews get tired and annoyed, actors get annoyed, and it just puts everybody on edge shooting in an environment like that. But again, like I really think it helps in setting that just selling the nature of a Christmas movie, of course, so we don't have to do it through CGI. But yeah, no, the actors did not love the goal. We can be honest about that.
Yeah, the shuttle driver who would take you from like the parking lot to the soundstage at one point was like, you know, a few years ago it was colder in Winnipeg than it was on Mars. Cool. I buy it.
The music in the film, obviously there's a ton of Christmas songs. Bryan Adams gets I think probably the song.
Tommy can talk about the Norway of that.
At what point did that all come together? Was it music supervisor, or did you know going in what you
Well,
wanted?
that scene was not supposed to have any music. When I came aboard, one of my first thoughts was, I really want this scene when he finds the hammer. I want to go full Sam Raimi, like no music, shock zooms, quick cuts, just brutal fucking beatings in that, like where he crushes heads and skulls and knees and everything. And we shot it and we cut it, and me and the editor, Jim, who's here somewhere, we were looking at it, like, this is too much. This is actually too violent. So we said, and Bryan Adams is a Christmas song that was, you remember in the old days when there was the weekly radio show with top 10 hits?
Yeah.
Every single Christmas in Norway, that song would come back and hit #1 for my entire, when I was a kid. So I figured, okay, let's try, let's just for fun. We don't have even to cut it to it. Just put that song over the sequence and see what happens. And and it just really made that sequence. It just made it funny and crazy, but not too violent. Which it just softened the whole thing and made it so much funnier. But of course, coming up with those Christmas songs and finding the right songs for the right sequence was a lot of fun.
You were always talking about the end credits song, where you know,
Yeah, Slade, Merry Christmas Everybody was a favorite of mine. We also have Donde Está Santa Claus, which is a great Christmas song, which I never heard before, that the music supervisor brought in, that I loved, and we used in the second fight in the film. So it's always also cool that we can hopefully show some new Christmas songs as well, not just the songs that have been played to death.
Well, I hate to break it to you, that Bryan Adams song, I don't even know if it charted in the US,
Yeah,
but I love that it's gigantic in Norway.
Is Bryan Adams know how famous he is in Norway?
No, that was a huge hit. He was on board with it. And actually, I think he re-recorded it for us. This is a new recording of it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, he's not doing anything else, but that's incredible. Yeah, all right, we have any questions in the audience? Yes, right here.
Well, not really a question, but I just wanted to thank you for so many practical effects, because it's noticeable. I really think this is going to be a classic script.
Thank you. I hope you're right. I mean, the goal was to make something that, you can watch hopefully every Christmas, and when the kids have gone to bed, you can put it on. But that was, of course, the goal, and to contribute to that very small bracket of films. And it was. I mean, what other already Christmas movies is there? Like Bad Santa, probably, is the one. Yeah. Which again was a big inspiration in my head, because I always felt if you pull off the heart of the film, again, like the relationship, you can do whatever you want. And Bad Santa was such a great example of that. So hopefully we can join that company.
I think it's kid appropriate because most R-rated Christmas movies don't have any like Christmas messaging in them.
You keep selling
Invasion
that.
USA. And...
Is Alfonso in the room?
Yeah, I was going to say we have a child. in the
Alfonso.
audience.
So Alfonso, he's a friend of the whole Beyond Fest. He has his 11-year-old son here. I think he's the youngest. I say this politely, but as a young man, as a child who still believes in Santa, what did you think? Is this a film for children like yourself? Yes. There you go. You have succeeded. Universal is just like they're changing their predictions right now.
Bring the whole family.
Yeah. Question. Yes, gentleman right here. Yeah, Beverly Dangel, the greatest of the Griswolds. Tell us about that.
Well, that's a film, again, not to speak of Norway all the time, but every 23rd of December, the evening before Christmas, that movie plays on Norwegian television, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. And one of my all-time favorite Christmas movies. And when her name came up, it was a no-brainer to ask her, and she had so much fun on this film. And you know, for example, that opening scene with her where she's pacing back and forth in the hallway, that was her just going crazy with those swear words. We didn't write half of that, but it was.
I was going to ask, because I wrote it down, don't shit in my mouth and call it chocolate cake. Who was responsible for that? Tell me it was Beverly.
That might have been us.
That was you, that was in the script, yeah. That was you. She just played around that one, yes.
Yeah. Next question. Yeah, a green sweater right there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I finally got called on it.
That's it. You wear a green sweater, you're gonna get called on every time.
So my question's for you, Pat and Josh. Like, you guys have written all these crazy comedies, and they're so over the top. Have you ever written a joke where you're like, this is a little too fucked up, or this is a little too weird, or maybe you pushed it too far? What did you have to rein in? Because across all your filmography, all your films are so crazy. Was there ever a joke that, yeah, we might need that?
Did you see the guy that got stabbed in the eye with a star and then set on fire? No, they don't go too. Like it's.
Yeah, if anything, it's more, is this too stupid? Because the thing that we still can't believe is in there is we wrote the joke that Elva named her child Bertrude. And we just kind of like look at each other and like, we almost deleted it before producers or Universal saw it. We're like, this can't, like that. Does this like destroy even this heightened reality? And it sailed through.
Yeah, I don't think we censored ourselves on this one really at all. Definitely on the Sonic movies, we sometimes have to take things out. Whenever like it's time for Sonic to wisecrack at Dr. Robotnik and I don't have a fresh one, sometimes he just says like, "Eat shit, motherfucker." And we'll come back and swap that out for something PG later.
Tommy, is this the point that you tell us that Bertrude is the #1 most popular name in Norway?
No, but honestly, that was one of those things, again, like a pleasant surprise. When we cut the film and we showed it, like, yeah, that's kind of funny, I guess we keep it. And the first time we tested it, people were just laughing out of the seat. Like, it was just played so well, that joke, from the first moment we tested it. So, yeah, it just shows. Not too stupid.
That's the lesson. No joke is too dumb.
3 years from now at a Christmas show, we're going to have My Name is Bertrude sweatshirts thrown into the audience. Next question. Yeah, gentleman right here.
I wanted to ask about the idea of showing the brutality of the Home Alone traps. Where you guys?
Yeah, the brutality of the Home Alone traps. It's amazing. The nail, you know, up until John Leguizamo getting Blitzkrieg, the nail through the unbelievable.
I mean, that was also always part of the pitch, but we let Tommy, because he's really
the nail was Tommy's idea.
I mean, Andre's in the audience here, the guy who gets the gingerbread. Yeah.
I mean, Home Alone, Andre's great. Home Alone came out at a very formative time for us when we were kids. And I feel like that was just, every single trap in Home Alone would have killed the wet bandits. And we would talk about that from time to time, so just when it came time to do an R-rated Christmas movie, we were like, let's just do a Home Alone, but like really show the havoc. But even so, it's like half that shit would have killed Candy Cane before she really got killed anyway.
No, but that was in the first draft I got, the Home Alone scene, but it was a lot smaller. And yeah, that was one of the first things I said to you guys. We should really just blow this thing up, and this should be one of the showstoppers in the film. Because like you guys, I always felt like, yeah, those traps would be horrible. Like do horrific things to a human body if they were ever. Because we want to show part of that. And yes, the nail is, what people don't know is that's actually a real nail going through his chin. But yeah, no. I think at one point though for budget reasons and time, we had to cut some stuff there. But at one point she sets Candy Cane on fire at one point, right?
Yeah, that scene used to end with a big human bird.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And I think what makes it so funny, and which we had in the script from the first time as well, was that Trudy doesn't know that she's hurting these people. I just think it's funny. And we actually, again, there's a moment right after he killed this Candy Cane with a sledgehammer. We cut, but it was one of my favorite jokes, but it just didn't play that. Like we had to get out of that scene that time. But Santa goes back and gets Trudy and leads her outside, and they pass the dead body. And at that point, Santa's taken like this rag and just thrown over her face. And Santa asks, "Is she taking a nap?" And it's, "Yeah, she's dead tired." And they just walk out. But
We'll
yeah.
save that for the sequel. Just bring that one back. Don't repeat that line. Yeah, hand it right there. Yeah, gentlemen. Yep.
What does everybody on stage want for Christmas?
A sequel, a franchise.
December 2nd, only in theaters, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know. Like I was asked this in an interview today, and I said because I'm from Norway, and in the north, I'm not joking. Like we eat a lot of reindeer, so I said a good reindeer dish.
Shame on you.
And the journalist just looked at me. He's like, "You eat Rudolph?" Yeah, I do.
Dead reindeer. That's what Tommy Wirkola wants for Christmas. At the back. Yes, you waving. Hi.
What was each and every one of yours' favorite scene out of the movie?
Favorite scene?
All three of you.
I mean, I like so many of them, but the one that makes me laugh the most is when Thorpe and the Kill Squad show up, and Candy Cane and Gingerbread are like, "He might be the real Santa." Just, what? Just that moment kills me.
Tommy. There's a couple of Home Alone for sure. A lot of fun to shoot, and it's so fun seeing that scene with a crowd. And also love the end fight and the end kill, which we discussed already. The end kill, what makes it for me is the kill itself is great, but it's just Santa's manic laughter afterwards. He just when he's holding this human stomach. Yeah, that's a favorite moment.
The one that really got me watching it tonight, as far as just kind of being like, I can't believe this is all in the movie. After all this violence happens, and then we have the like quiet, sappy scene of Santa just talking to Trudy on the walkie-talkie. And then another thing that we were all on the same page with, and thankfully Harbor was, is we got some pushback that like Santa should be cuter with Trudy, and we're like, no, Santa loves kids, but he lives at the North Pole, which are a bunch of freaky elves. He doesn't interact with them. But when Santa starts fondly talking about smashing heads with skull crusher, he kind of forgets that he's talking to a little kid. I liked that.
Bad man. Yep, all the way right back there. Yep. The lady right there.
I just wanted to ask, whose idea was it, like, for Santa's look, with the tattoos, the man bun, like, who came up with that?
He always had tattoos, but why don't you talk about his outfit? And another detail that you added, or someone added, it wasn't us that I love, is that Santa's sleigh, if you look really closely, is made out of a Viking longship.
Yeah, that was an idea I had, but I think the tattoos were already there.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth with them. There was a lot of work getting them right and getting into his body, but they're all Viking ruins, of course, and they each tell a story. And it was a combination of things, like the man bun, I think was Harbor. I think he said he wanted to put it up before the fight. Again, a combination of ideas and people coming together, but we knew we wanted him, again, like the reveal I talked about earlier, to slowly reveal that thing, and the moment where he shows his tattoos, I knew I wanted to be a big moment. That's why I shot it in slow motion, actually, just to really play it, like the shock of seeing Santa Claus with all these crazy tattoos.
And we always love the idea of just giving Santa like a real origin story. That we ended up kind of holding back on what ended up in the finished film, but like the whole Viking thing and like showing his tattoos before you learned anything else about his backstory is just to make everybody like, what's up with these tattoos?
I just like that Santa taking his shirt off gets as big a gasp as Brad Pitt taking his shirt off in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
These are your people, my friend. Right here. Okay, we've got a couple more gentlemen right here, yeah?
Was there more to the Viking backstory? I didn't get into it.
Oh yeah, there was plenty there. We just we basically decided to cut it because we wanted people to fill in their own blanks a little bit there, and if we're lucky enough and people embrace this film, we can go back and revisit it later on.
A Santa prequel? Is that what we
That could be cool too. Yeah. But no, we did. There was a much longer scene with Santa talking to Trudy and telling very specifically what he used to do. But we cut that. Even though again, like it was a hard cut and it came late because that scene, you don't, again, it's very short now where he's talking about the skull crusher, but the scene between Trudy and Santa was some of the best acting between them. It was so great and so emotional, and him talking about his backstory and how he started and how he ended up. But it was just too much of that part of the film too, and it felt like we could say that for a possible sequel.
Yeah, where we can really dig in and possibly see more of it. Shoot some old-timey Viking stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, over there, yep. Christmas dies tonight.
Jason, nobody kills or kicks as much ass as Santa, so I
Yeah. Did people catch the Halloween kills
Somebody today told me that this Santa Claus should be brought into like a Mortal Kombat video game.
I love it, yes!
I thought it was a great idea actually. We should talk to somebody.
Guy, get on that.
Yeah, guys.
Stick him in Sonic 3, you heathens. Okay, gentlemen all the way at the back, yep.
So you talked about all the action movies you were revisiting in anticipation of this. Were there any classic Christmas movies you also revisited to achieve the moments of sentimentality throughout the film?
Yeah, we just didn't quite have time, but I think stuff you watch when you're a little kid is just kind of fried into your brain.
Yeah, I mean,
Forever.
like, we thought about, Miracle on 34th Street, Prancer. Anybody remembers that movie?
Ernest Saves Christmas.
And like, especially, like, Christmas episodes of TV shows, like Christmas episodes of like kid shows where Santa shows up and then at the end he's like, I gotta go finish my rounds. You know, that just always seemed like the end of the movie because that was, that would have been the end of like, I can't even remember a specific one. Was that even a thing, or did I just imagine that? I don't know.
I think it's true. All right, let's go with one. Who's got the best question left to close? No pressure. You're really smiling. Okay, we'll do a couple more because everyone's got the best question. I'll start with you, young lady over there. Yeah.
There's a lot of like dude energy in here. I'm wondering how you involved women and femmes in the production of this movie.
A lot of dude energy. How did you involve women and femmes in the production of this movie?
Well, I mean, one of the main producers is Kelly McCormick, who produces a lot of action for 87 North, and one of the things that was very important to her, and again, to me when I came on board, was to keep that Trudy Santa relationship alive. And they were there every day on set, and pushing that and making sure that stayed in there.
More than one woman or just one?
I mean, we went out and pitched it. It was with Kelly McCormick and Andy Meyer.
What was that?
Is it more than just the one?
You
Yeah,
mean
we pitched with two producers, but also like our costume designer.
I mean, a lot of the crew are obviously women. But are you talking about behind the camera, or? Yeah, no, of course. We have production designer, makeup artist, unit manager, production manager, script supervisor.
Yeah, that's well represented. Okay, gentlemen over here, right here. Oh yeah, the safe cracker.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Still out there.
Buy the DVD in the extras. Yeah, right there, gentlemen, right there.
He's obviously a Viking badass, and that would probably mean that his wife is as badass, if not more.
Oh.
So, are we thinking, maybe she's in the sequel?
Yeah, I mean,
Mrs. Claus, he's a Viking badass. What does this mean for Mrs. Claus? She's also a Viking badass.
Yeah, she was in the script at one point where she came in the ending with the sleigh, and there was a big chase with the helicopter. It's too complicated, but for budget reasons, we had to take it out for budget reasons, and we also decided let's not just have her come back for a cameo at the end, and if we're lucky enough to do another one, let's really involve her and find a cool story and a cool way in for her. And of course, we have some ideas that ties into the Viking backstory, which could be fun to explore. But yeah, she was there in different versions of the draft, but eventually it didn't make it at the end.
I want to see this with a helicopter and Mrs. Claus. Last question. Yes, lady right there. Yeah.
Who would you guys cast as her?
Ooh, who would you cast? You got your dream with Santa, so.
I don't know if I can answer that.
Because we have,
Who do you
Who
suggest?
should it be?
We have one vote for Charlie. Charlie's Theron over here. Who did you want, sir? No, we're gonna have Mrs. Claus. Do we have any more for Mrs. Claus? Otherwise, it's Charlie's Theron.
We'll just say you can all think so. They've known each other.
No, right? Look what we've descended into. Elizabeth Moss.
You guys can expand your casting though, because the Vikings, they went all over the world. So who knows where Santa met her?
Oh, that's a good point. Should we save that for the sequel?
Yeah.
All right, I think we can wrap this up and get ready for Christmas. Ladies and gentlemen, Violent Night is in theaters on December 2nd. We have the writers, Josh Miller, Pat Casey, and Derek Tommy Wirkola. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you.
Good to see you. Oh my God, great. Y'all have so much fun. Oh my God, it was so fun.